All right, so welcome guys to week 7. I can't believe we're like in the tail end of our weekly gatherings. So we're tackling impactful mentoring this week, but I wanted to take a little bit of time to just kind of recap week 6. I know a lot of it was focused around finding builders and, kind of like what that looks like internally when we start looking at the message that we're sort of putting out. But I wanted to get a few of your guys' takeaways from attending Biz Boot Camp last weekend. I think we had everybody, I think, on this call except for Kaylee, because she's in the middle of moving there on the weekend, which was awesome. Oh, Josie's got her little guy. So I know we don't have a whole lot of people in the group right now to share some dialogue, but anything that you guys took away in terms of the finding builders piece from anybody that spoke on the weekend, or anything that you've been kind of stuck on sort of mentally that became clear to you, or just anything you took away from the weekend in terms of what we were talking about last week with finding builders? Maybe Josie, I'll pick your brain since you got your hands free for a couple seconds there. You're muted, so let me.
Yeah, I'll mute myself. I'm trying to think of my answer. I really liked trying to figure, I can't remember who said it, but when they were talking about following up on a few different steps with people, like talking about live, and then once you do that, maybe do the share guide or the build guide and just move gradually through it. I mean, obviously mentioning things beforehand, but I thought that was a nice way to follow up with people. Seems to make more sense.
Yeah, sort of putting it out there ahead of time, what kind of follow-up we do and where the conversations go, so that it's not a total surprise to them when you.
Yeah, definitely. Like, oh yeah. And then following up, like kind of mentioning it quickly and then following up in greater detail later as they're ready. I like that idea.
Yep. Because I think that's how your experience goes with your oils, right? It starts off as overwhelming, and then you get a little bit more comfortable, and then you're at the point where you're comfortable enough that you're actually passing on information to other people. And I think you kind of apply that step-by-step sort of follow-up and check-in with people, and know that, if you haven't talked to them in 3 months since they got their kit, that there's always kind of a starting point, right? And you never know where it might end up based on their comfort level now with their oils, and talking to them, helping them see that they might already be kind of doing little pieces of the business without having even realized it. Summer momentum. So I know that I mentioned that we would kind of share some tidbits, especially you guys. You're going to have kids home for the summer now. And I got almost through Kyle and Kirsten's call from Monday, because she shared some tips about having gone through Diamond Club and, building her business to Diamond, and going for it earlier than what she thought she was ready to do. And so, they talked about, Kyle shared some really cool tips about the power of momentum, and that, momentum doesn't know that summer break is happening, or that you've got kids coming home for, full days with you. Momentum doesn't know that you maybe have builders that aren't engaged. It's a lot of just what you create and what you commit to. So I was hoping kind of over the next couple of weeks, as we sort of inch into essentially having more on our plates for some of us, what some of our learnings and takeaways are, so that summer doesn't have to be a halt to your business, and then September comes around and you're sort of building from scratch. Because if you've got momentum happening in your business right now, I would love for us to just be able to share tips about how to keep that going, and sort of top of mind when you're out doing different things with your kids. And I think a lot of it's just going to be being prepped with samples and being in that moment. I love how Ange talked on Saturday about just things sometimes falling at her feet, right? Like a child that falls down. If you weren't thinking about business and knowing you had samples in your bag, you might react to that situation differently than being somebody who's in a state with everything. So I don't know, anything that you guys have that's worrisome to you about heading into the summer and having a little bit of extra stuff to commit to from a mom standpoint?
Or I won't lie about one thing. I actually have a hard time if something like like the child following in front of you story, I have a really hard time breaking out the oils then. Like, I feel like I have such a block when it's like, I'm like, well, obviously I should share the oils, but I have such a hard time being like, oh, here you go. You should try this. Like, as much as I feel like I can, coach and mentor my team on doing that, for me to actually do it, I really, really struggle with that.
Yeah.
Like, I can share absolutely, I share under a lot of circumstances, but there's just certain times where I'm like, this feels so strange to be like, here's something I sell, which it's not what I sell. I want them to enjoy it. But for some reason, that sell block comes right back up when it's one of those like kind of vulnerable experiences, I think. I don't know if you guys have tips about that.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're saying. The same thing happens to me. And I think that's only because we have a business attached to it. It would be no different than being a mom who carries around Band-Aids in her purse. We're not working with a Band-Aid company, but you would never hesitate to pull a Band-Aid out for a little neighbor on your street that falls down and gets hurt. So I think when you feel that come up and you feel that hesitation, take any piece of selling right out of your head, because you literally don't have to say anything in that moment about, oh, and this is what I do and this is what I sell and I can get you this lavender if you really like it, and just, I think we just have to approach those moments from just a caring citizen standpoint.
I do like that Band-Aid thing. That makes total sense. And I don't know why, as much as I know it's not selling and I know it's not selling in that moment, that's still what is, it's there.
Yeah. Because you have
even though I don't want to be.
guilt attached that you should do something business-wise with that opportunity, right? But it totally doesn't have to be that. It doesn't have to be an introduction to business or selling.
Yeah.
Be able to help somebody out.
Yeah, that's true. Just the Band-Aid thing. That makes so much more sense. It just kind of, yeah, it's one of those things where even, someone at work is complaining about like neck pain and I'm like, uh-huh. And then today at lunch, my friend's going, well, that deep blue I got from you is awesome. And I'm like, uh-huh.
Yeah.
Like,
we all do it.
Yeah.
So
it's maybe remembering to be authentic and genuine. And if you need to leave the selling out for the first 3 interactions, I think that's better than not offering it.
Yeah, it's true. I think I just really struggle. I find the most parts where I'm struggling with these experiences that fall in front of me are in the workplace. Mm-hmm. Which I have some of the people I work with absolutely adore the oils and they sell them for me.
Yeah.
So I feel like I really struggle with, oh yeah, here, I do have some deep blue here. Why don't you try it?
Yeah. And do you not find then when you've not opened up your mouth for an opportunity, it messes with your head the rest of the day because you beat yourself up about not having offered it? Whereas,
I'm still thinking about the deep blue thing. This actually happened at lunch today. And I was just like, yep. And I felt then after I'm like, what was going on there? What was I thinking? Because that's not what I wanted to think. That's not what I wanted to come out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think it's good that we share this stuff because it happens to all of us. And it's just, it's that silly story that we sell ourselves. And I think you just got to check yourself and say, okay, I'm not going to, there's nothing in this interaction that I'm, nothing in it for me. I just want to be helpful and leave it at that. And the rest falls into place as it's meant to be afterwards. Right.
And I think too, that sometimes they say you're doing people a disservice if you don't mention the business. And I also think that you're doing people a disservice if you don't give them what you have to help them. Right. I'm not saying to talk about the business right then, but I'm saying we're holding something back that's so helpful if we do that. And I almost feel like that's cruel. So
maybe I think I just need that little mantra going in the back of my head, a little tape recording, I'm doing this to help. I'm doing this to help. Because that really is what I believe.
But I feel your affirmation.
Recite that to myself maybe in those moments, because as much as I believe that's what it is, that funny little doubt, of the sale sneaks in there. And then you're like, oh, I don't want to be that person, because we've all had that person.
Yeah. If I were your mentor, I'd be telling you that your affirmation should have to do with that then.
Yes, I think that's what it is.
That's amazing, Josie, because that's something I worked extra hard at in the last half of May was, repeating only the good stuff. There were literally days, the last couple of days before the end of May, where I chanted in my head, miracles are going to show up in my business. Miracles are going to show up in my business. And when you get focused on saying that, there's not even room for those days or issues of doubt. So it's it's funny. It's easy to laugh when you hear those things, but I think that they do really have a place and purpose in our business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and building your confidence. And
it's funny because you know what? It's only in my workplace that I have this block. Like most of the time, you know, if there really was a child on the street, I'd be like, yeah, here you go. It's, but I'm noticing it at work because I have started to share a little bit more at work and people are excited about it at work, but then more people are asking me about it. And I'm like, wait, I don't know if I was ready for this excitement. So I think I do. Yeah, I think you guys are right. Just, you know, like I am ready for this excitement. I am ready to share it with like this group of people. And
yeah. So would you say that like, do your coworkers know that you're also building this business as well, or?
Some of them do. Some of them don't. Like it depends because I work in a couple different areas. In the new area I work in, no, they don't know. Okay. In my old area, they do know, but I don't think they know to what degree. Like I've built an amazing team. I'm so proud of my team. I'm so proud of myself.
Yeah.
They know I use the oils and they know I share the oils, but I don't think they realize quite what's there.
The seriousness of your
because it's growing. It's amazing. It really is. But it's that this has nothing to do with our call. I'm sorry, but
no, that's okay.
It's just kind of that block that's kind of come with that aspect of it. So
okay,
that's kind of my summer struggle that I need to work on. So
yeah, is there any kind of like I guess compliance is kind of the right word, but any like conflict of interest that comes from you talking with coworkers about what you do?
No, not at all. It's all completely what the block that I've put up that we work in like very, very Western medicine.
Yeah.
You know, like we're doing the most traditional medicine that there is, not, you know, alternative medicine. So for me, that's what I've put up there and I have a hard
time. I don't know whether you've like talked to people about this or not, but just thinking about like what you're doing with doTERRA, right? Is when I was at convention in the fall, and I had the physicians on stage talking about like, you know, the differences between our traditional medical system and you know, using something like doTERRA, they were all very much in favor of people being empowered to be in a preventative state and completely supportive of that, so that there was space in our actual medical system for the people who truly, truly need it, not the people that are all there with like years of damage that's built up from being, from being cruel to their body. So it's almost like if you can kind of, you know, get that out there, that you are so happy to have access to the medical system and the care that we do have, you know, in North America, but love to be able to help people, you know, eliminate some of those unnecessary burdens on the healthcare system.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anything you would add to that, Josie?
And once you do that, you can actually more effectively in your job help more people. You'll have more time for them, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I like it. Thanks, ladies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're going to cover off next. Okay, so week 7, let's just go through what's coming up with you guys.
I was so behind, I couldn't remember what week we were on, so I was reading through all of them. Did anybody find me strawberries?
That's your post that's up there.
Yeah. I don't want my kids to miss out on strawberry picking.
Yeah, I've never gone and picked strawberries. I just always buy them.
You've never gone?
No, not to pick them.
Oh, you have to take the kids. It's so fun.
I picked blueberries, but not strawberries.
Oh, strawberries are a whole nother level of slimy strawberry red mess. It's so fun.
It would be a little bit messy. Hi. Oh, what's that?
It's our juice.
What? Okay, let's find week 7
It's
here.
our juice.
Oh, it's out of juice.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You can't drink that.
Oh, thanks.
The kid night.
Okay, impactful mentoring. So I haven't had a whole lot of time to dig into some of the links that are in here, but there is a good video here by a Blue Diamond named Cache Wyson on just different personalities and understanding how to connect with some of those different personalities on your team. So I'm sure you guys have all started to experience that sometimes your style of connecting isn't necessarily what's most beneficial for each person on your team. So there's a cool mentoring worksheet here that I actually really like. I think that it will be helpful to just kind of, spark some new conversations between you and some of your leaders. Obviously, understanding their why is a big piece of, how you can help direct them. But even getting down to some of the nitty gritty, like figuring out some of their income goals and, knowing whether they're working towards just wanting to have a little bit of extra cash or just paying for their oils, or whether they're actually wanting to work towards a supplemental or replacement income. So there is not a lot of homework this week, but just stuff that I think will be good to really put some thought behind, because it does start to involve people on your team. So there's a mentoring worksheet here. I'm going to open it up. Actually, it's probably already, down here. So some cool questions that you can kind of start to dig into with some of the people you're mentoring, figuring out, where are you right now in your business? Like I said, earning your products for free, supplementing your income or replacing it, figuring out, what level are they at with their power of three, and what are some of the steps that maybe need to happen over the next couple of months if they're looking to fill in some of those blanks. I went over this with Cass earlier this week, and we looked at, there's always that question, do you build for a rank? Do you build for your power of three? And you may have people that reach a certain point, yourselves included, where building to that power of three is going to be a bigger increase in your income than potentially that next rank or the level that's being paid out to you right now. Because it's such a significant jump from the 50 to 250 to 1500. Asking what
Probably more reliable.
What's that, Josie?
And probably more reliable too.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. Looking at what the gap is between where you're at right now or where they're at right now in their business and where they would like it to be. And I think, again, with summer break coming up, it's a good one to kind of get clear on, because it can be really easy to kind of put your feet up and want to enjoy everything that comes along with summer and spending time with your kids. But, being very on purpose about your business and when you've got opportunities to fit it into your day will make a huge difference between September arriving in your lap and feeling like, wow, I feel like I've got to get comfortable again, sharing samples and booking classes, and I've lost my groove in terms of presenting. So figuring out if there's somewhere specific that they would like to be this coming fall, and what can we make the next 2 months look like to help get them there. And figuring out, why is it worth it? So what would actually change if somebody on your team were to start hitting their 1500 power of three? I like looking at that number as, if you've got somebody, I know, Josie, that you're not probably going to be getting a maternity leave from, government top up or anything like that. But for some people that are starting families, going on mat leave, looking at this year as a year to possibly look at doing something different, that 1500 is quite close to what you got on a maternity leave from month to month at times. So just knowing that if that's something that somebody has learned to live with income wise from their family, to have doTERRA be able to provide that for them could be a big part of possibly not having to go back to work. What kind of shifts need to happen? What assistance do they need? Figuring out commitment level. And again, keep continuing to tie it back to your why. There's some good stuff to go over here on mindset and success habits and all of the little pieces that you can, kind of have a real honest conversation about in terms of, are they connecting with enough people, scheduling enough classes, getting to our events that are coming up. If you've got anybody on your team that wasn't able to make it to our London boot camp, we're going to have the Burlington one in August. Getting there yourself again, because I just find your stuff presented, the clearer it becomes for you to be able to, relay some of those messages and the different takeaways that you can have happen at each time that you hear something being presented and having somebody else put a different spin on it. And I think too, just being kind to yourself and taking a little bit of the stress and load that comes off of feeling like you have to be this perfect mentor, because really I think 5 years from now, we're going to look at this first year in our business and realize it was literally the baby stages of growing a business. And we don't always have to have, the perfect answer and the perfect thing to say to the people on our teams. A lot of it sometimes is just being that constant positivity and ray of light over top of them when you're chatting with them, because generally they're probably going to bring challenges to you that they're having in their business. And whether you've got the right answer for them or not, it's just showing that you have faith in them and letting them know that it's okay to hit these bumps and that you've got belief system behind them, and challenging them to get deep on their belief system. And, sometimes figuring out what those roadblocks are, Andrea, like just having an honest conversation. Sometimes I think we are afraid to admit the stuff that we feel like we're not good at in our business, because sometimes it's the big piece, right? But I think we all go through it. And put that honesty out there and letting people know that, somebody else might be able to provide you a really great answer, or a really great point of view on something that has just been, a constant little hamster running its wheel in your brain. It's good to chat through some of that stuff. And figuring out, like, have a look through your downlines this week. And is there anybody that's down there that's just kind of working away silently, that hasn't had a chance to connect with you, or is just starting to show a new interest in their business that maybe isn't directly related to somebody above them that's building, that you have an opportunity to reach out to, and just figure out, who are a few of those people that may want to have a chat with you even once a month, or just, check-ins more frequently online, that you could be having a positive influence on, what their business looks like over the next little while. And then time, of course, over this last couple of weeks to catch up on any assignments that are, still on our to-do list from the last couple of weeks, because there is PV product to be rewarded at the end. Hi, Amanda.
Hi, I'm sorry I'm late. I was editing report cards.
No problem. So that's basically what week 7 is going to be about. Just getting some of those mentoring skills polished up a little bit. So let's spend the last couple of minutes, especially Amanda, now that you've come on, since you're one of the big people I had in mind for somebody that's going to have some newfound free time on their lap, but figuring out how to make the most of your business. So we didn't chat through a ton so far, but is there anything that's, as much as it's exciting to be done school in the next 6 days, what's freaking you out about having to shift back into being home with your kids in terms of your biz?
Well, that, right? Being home, full-time mommying, and just trying to find, time to work on things that need to be done, and, finding balance, right? Like, it's all of a sudden to go from having like no free time during the day to having free time, but having kids with you too. So I think I'm just really wanting to work on like being super organized with time management and scheduling. And so I was already just chatting with one of my new builders about, how she was going to do some time management with her kids to work the business. And she was asking me about how I make it work. And I was like, well, right now I don't really have a system, but when the summer comes, like, I really feel like I'm going to need that. And just even as simple as like when Violet's sleeping in the afternoon, giving the boys something quiet to do so that I can make the most out of that 2 hours of quiet time when I don't have a baby on my hip, that I can, do follow-ups and things like that. So just, I think just keeping my kids busy, but being able to also enjoy my summer too is a little bit high on my priorities. And then wanting to keep the momentum going over the summer, with knowing that sometimes it can be a bit tricky over the summer to get people to commit to stuff because they're so busy. That freaks me out a little too.
Yeah. I'm really kind of looking at the next couple of months. Like, my biggest piece is that I always want to be stocked up with samples.
Yeah.
If we look at the next couple of months as like major seed planting,
Yeah.
bless as many people as you can over the next 2 months with an opportunity to take a couple of oils home and try them. And, don't have any expectations out of, it leading to something immediately, but knowing that it's, if you get really good at even 2 samples a day, anytime that you're out, look for those opportunities and know that it's going to show up in a massive way in September, November, December, especially as, people start thinking about Christmas and that kind of stuff. It's, don't get discouraged over people and their summer plans and commitments and hard to nail down. I'm already looking at my calendar thinking there's almost something spoken for every weekend. When you start thinking about it being like 8 weekends,
Yeah.
they fill up like.
Well, and in some ways I'm just excited because I haven't seen so many people in months, like since I went to work. So it's going to be a really nice opportunity just to connect with like a lot of my mommy friends over the summer. So there are a lot of opportunities in all of that. So that'll be fun too. And yeah, I think you're right. Just having stuff with me in my diaper bag is going to be helpful.
Yeah. And I think there's nothing better than being able to demonstrate to other people that you can totally do this biz with your kids by your side. Yeah. And, turn some of those play dates and catch ups into a little bit of sharing about the oils and showing them that it's possible. It's possible to do it all. And
a little crazy, but yes.
We secretly meet on Wednesday nights to dump all of the chaos.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Did you have any good takeaways from Saturday? We covered that off at the very beginning. Anything that was relevant to last week was obviously the topic was finding builders, but anything that you took away from Saturday that helped you in terms of thinking about finding people to bring into your business or people that are already existing in your team, having them look at the business opportunity differently?
Well, I think it's been like a pretty pivotal month for me with people taking up that opportunity. So I don't know, like I took some things from the boot camp, but in terms of like finding new builders, I think just I keep on thinking just about like modeling what I want to attract and like, and even like Angela's post today or yesterday, I think it was like, just, people are naturally drawn to you when you do what you do really well and you show how much you enjoy it. And Kate Kennedy and I were talking about that the other day, just like about how happy all of her posts are and like how exciting. And she was just saying, oh, that's perfect. That's exactly what I want. And I think that she's like attracting people that way. And I just, that's sort of I took that home also from the boot camp about like branding and just attracting with what you have online and who you are as a person. And I think that that's sort of what my hopes are for attracting builders, because I want to work with people who have a similar mentality to me. And then, and then I just think the Begin program has just been a really great gateway for a lot of people on my team to get excited about building this past month. So I think I've got like 9 that have decided that they're ready to get going with it, which is crazy. So I think that's exciting.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah, a lot of good takeaways when you talk about branding yourself and just the message that gets put out there by you in all other areas of your life, because I think that, we don't realize how many people are watching and taking notes and figuring out that, if something's not working in their life, they're watching the things that are working for you. And
our Monday night mentor call, we were talking about how, we were just talking about that, like what we, on our social media, what we're posting. And 2 of the builders were just saying like how they had been on my page, one of them for like 8 months watching my posts. And then the other one was like, yeah, for 5 months she'd been watching posts and decided at that point. So it's kind of funny, like, it's true. It does work, right? People are watching. So
that's awesome. Cool. All right, guys, anybody have any other questions or any challenges right now happening in your worlds that you want to get a quick opinion on before we sign off?
Oops.
How's the baby doing over there, Josie?
I'm uncomfortable right now.
I could, felt like you were.
I'm moving so much.
Is she up in your ribs?
Yeah.
Is it she
Well,
or-
it's 'cause it's a girl, and it's because I'm like sitting in bed, right? So I don't sit often.
I don't miss that.
I'm gonna when it's gone, but
I know you kind of do.
yeah. Susan, I'll probably just pick your brain on the first month of what to later on, like in our own call, of what I'm gonna do. But I was talking about that today with one of the girls. I'm like one of my leaders, and she was like, "Yeah." So I need to figure out what my plan is. I don't want to lose momentum either, and
Yeah.
summer's gonna be really different for me.
Even if it's something over the next few days, getting as many samples out as you can. And then that's the easy stuff that's you can do in bed with Babe, right? Is just checking in by email and
Yeah.
not having to travel too far at all.
Mhm. Yep.
All right, cool. Well, thanks for hopping on, guys, tonight.
Thank you.
Yes, so have a chance to anything you want to catch up on from last week's homework, and then just digging into some of this mentoring stuff. If there's somebody in your upline that you want to chat with about, what everybody's obviously at different needs, levels of what they're needing in your downline. So if you need to kind of tweak what you're offering, but use that mentoring worksheet to just kind of spark some new conversation with some of your builders, get clear on, where they would like to be in the next couple of months so that you can best help them over the next 2 months, when it does start to get busy with social activities, on how to have that align with their goals for the fall.
Mhm.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thanks, guys. Have a fantastic rest of the week. Oh, I did want to ask, and I'll post it too. Could we move next week's call from Wednesday to Tuesday night? You don't have to have your calendar open right in front of you, but I'll put a post.
Maybe. My husband is
so.
leaving on Tuesday for a week to BC, so I'm flying solo. So I'll just have to kind of feel that one out.
Yeah, no worries. I'll put a post up for sure.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks, Susan. Thanks, Josie, for the tips too.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good night, guys.
Good night.